Hello, and so I want to continue a little bit from last week. First, excuse my voice. I am majorly allergic to trees, and it took my voice away this weekend, so I'm just now getting it back. So I'm a little weak. Hopefully, you can hear me. Um, Last week, I started talking about a problem-solving technique called appreciative inquiry, as I was trying to spend some time in this part of the spiral. And so I'm going to continue that today. But it was something really interesting happened. And so I'm going to have this mashing of thoughts and ideas. So years ago, I designed a creative problem solving class that I taught or offered or whatever. And one of the techniques I taught was about brainstorming. And this is definitely, part of this process of spiraling up is getting ideas on the table, right? But traditional brainstorming has two big issues. One is that a lot of people try to create a full-blown, thought-out, good idea before they'll say anything. And it's just part of their nature, right? They want to think things through. Then there's folks like me that just speak, it pops in the head and out the mouth, and we change our mind. I mean, it just, everybody operates a little differently. The second part of traditional brainstorming is the idea of not responding or not reacting to an idea. That's almost humanly impossible. To not make a face or sound or not have a reaction to something that you're hearing. So one of the techniques I used back then and still use today is kind of that idea of, instead of trying to come up with really good ideas, let's come up with the craziest, most outlandish, dumbest thing we could do to solve this problem. And it did two things. It allowed for the creativity to just expand. And it also allowed for the reactions to be totally okay. Because everybody would be going, oh my God, that's horrible. Listen to mine, mine's worse. It's one of those things where everybody can engage, and it's got a lot of energy because it's impossible ideas, right? It's crazy ideas that just couldn't happen. And then what I would do after documenting those crazy ideas is go, what about this might actually work? And it allowed for the team to have really, really super creative ideas. And a lot of times it would be the coming together of those different ideas that allowed for the best idea to emerge and get created. And everybody had a part in that. And so it was a really good technique. A couple of years ago, so I'm gonna mash this with two things, by the way. So a couple of years ago, my friend, Dwayne Brown, who is a fellow Rotarian and an improv guy, right? So he does improv for fun. And he taught me an improv technique called yes and. And so you start a story. So one character starts a story with a statement, and the next person says yes and then adds to that story. It's another problem solving technique. Someone starts with the thought of what if we tried something weird like this? And someone said, yes, and let's do this too, and let's do this too. And it just builds on it. It's a great way to kind of tell a story. I've used that one specifically with customer experience. So person A is a customer, and the first person in the problem solving is going to say, so customer A experienced this. And then the second person will say, and then, staff A intervened and did this, and you continue the story until they really started to figure out how to resolve customer issues and those kinds of things. Third thing, so I'm involved in this personal development program right now called Positive Intelligence. And I'm learning quite a little bit, and it fits in real well with the spiral too. I mean, a lot of things do. And, it talks about our own internal saboteurs and our sages. And one of the sages is about innovation. And one of the techniques that Shrizad, who is the leader and the inventor of this positive intelligence program, suggests that we do yes and from the standpoint of ideas. And the thought is that out of anybody's idea, out of anything they say, it's got to be at least 10% right. right? And if we just acknowledge, okay, there's 10% right in what they're saying, what's that 10% that I can latch onto? And I can say, you know, what I really like about what you just said was, and then, and here's something else that I'm thinking. It sparked me to think this, right? So if you take these techniques and use them in generating ideas, I think it gets people engaged a lot more and gets them opening their mind and really listening to each other. So the idea of brainstorming really crazy stuff, right? The idea of the yes and story, and the idea of 10% right, yes and in the idea generation. So I just want to toss that out there as just some techniques to really get to that place of collaboration where we're really working together to create solution. It's not somebody's idea that we all go, okay, we'll go with that. It's the creation of the idea together. And that's the best way to find synchronicity. So my charge to you is give that a shot and somebody come tell me a story. Have a great week. Peace.